What do you got, Coach? 3 things that all coaches need.
Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of coaches?
New York or the Aces? Definitely going with the Aces.
All right, 4th dial. Who has the tougher job, coaches or officials? If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? For Texas, it's different.
Tay, you know what it's been?
What?
It's been a long time since we've recorded an episode.
It has. We had to enjoy our summer.
We did. We had to enjoy our summer, but now we're back.
We're back.
All right. So listen, this is the Coaches Co-op, where coaches connect, grow, share the grind. I'm your host, Michael Prejean, better known as Coach P. Each week, I team up with coaches from all across the country, but today we're doing something special. I need everybody so let me go ahead and give her the screen by herself. Y'all see this beautiful young lady right there? Do that. Make your pose again. Make your pose. All right, y'all do a little screenshot. Today is her birthday, y'all. Happy birthday, Tay.
Thank you.
She's still a baby, y'all. She still hasn't made it to the dirty 30s.
Yep.
But she is here in the co-op because she is our expert on all things WNBA. So y'all welcome WNBA Tay back to the co-op.
Thank you.
All right, so listen, let's go ahead and dive into this thing. It's tea time.
Mm-hmm.
It's tea time. So y'all see us back here on the screen right there.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Coaches Co-op, and then we got the hot tea for the WNBA, because the WNBA never fails to give us hot tea. So, what's the hot tea for this week?
The WNBA has been pretty positive the last couple of weeks, aside from some fans doing some pretty outrageous things.
Some pretty outrageous things.
But I'd say the hottest thing right now is it's very basketball related concerning the Fever and whether or not, you know, what they're going to do to fill their point guard spot. All 3 of their point guards are down. They're injured. Caitlin Clark, groin injury. They signed Ari McDonald. Ari McDonald broke a bone in her foot just the other night. And then Sydney Colson, one of the oldest players in the league, tore her ACL just the other night. So they are without a true point guard. They're down all 3 amazing players, and everybody's wondering what they're going to do. Are they going to sign someone on a hardship contract? Are they going to just push Caitlin Clark back out, you know, on her back, both groins on both sides? That's the tea. Everybody's discussing, you know, what Indiana's going to do going forward.
Yeah. So speedy recovery for both of those players who are going to be out for sure. Broken foot for McDonald, torn ACL for Sid Colson, who you mentioned was one of the oldest players in the league. She's probably the funniest player.
Definitely the funniest
in the league as well. Houston's own. So what are they going to do? So let me go here. I'm on the WNBA website and I'm looking through all the transactions. Who is out there that could possibly play point guard for the Indiana Fever, right? So Chloe Bibby's gone. They released her on August 1st. Maybe she'll come back. There's a well-traveled point guard that I saw in here earlier when I was going through the transactions. Played at UConn. What's her name? Little bit. Mariah Jefferson. I do believe Mariah Jefferson is out there. Odyssey Sims is also out there.
Great
Odyssey
option.
Sims is well-traveled as well. So Indiana is in a playoff spot right now with a little bit more than a month to play. They are currently sitting in a playoff spot. So I'm guessing Caitlin Clark will be back at some point. But I want to say the Fever are losers of 2 in a row, so they're gonna have to figure out something pretty quick.
Correct.
They're gonna have to figure out something pretty quick. All right, let's do this. Now it's time for our standings review. Okay, so let me get this up here on the screen. Let's see if I still know how to work this. It's been a long time since I've done this. You know, old people forget stuff. All right, here we go. So these are the current standings. Current WNBA standings right here. Minnesota Lynx continue to be the class of the league. Okay. We just talked about the Fever, losers of 2 in a row, sitting pretty solid in that 5 spot. But there's only a 3-game difference between 5 and 10. So what are your thoughts on the current standings?
I think it's extremely tight. The Fever, specifically speaking about them, because I started off speaking about them, if they don't make some changes or, try to fast track Caitlin Clark and get her some good treatment, with these games being so tight, like Vegas is tied with the Fever after they struggled for a while. Seattle is, they came into a little bit of a struggle phase. They're only a game behind the Sparks, who the Fever cannot seem to beat. The Valkyries, who the Fever have had trouble beating, right? All of these teams are creeping up on not only the Fever, but the Mercury. And if specifically the Fever don't do something, right, then they're looking at, these teams are fighting, right? We know that the Valkyries are amazing. Seattle's going to make the playoffs. The Aces are going to make the playoffs, right? So I think with Washington, I expected a little bit more from Washington. I'm not sure, what's going on in Washington. I guess they're doing a hard rebuild. But the way they started the season off was so positive, and they've just taken, right, a very negative slope. So I'm very concerned about Washington. They're at the 13th spot, 1 game behind the playoff spot. But with the changes they've made recently, I don't see them being successful.
Yeah, so Minnesota and New York are obviously the class of the league, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in another segment. The Dream are holding strong. The Mercury are holding strong. The Fever definitely need to do something. Let me be messy just for a second. We talked about hot tea and how the WNBA has been pretty positive over the last couple of weeks. I wonder if that's because Caitlin Clark has not been on the court. Because she tends to be a lightning rod for a lot, good and bad, right? And it tends to bring out both sides. Okay, so that was just me being messy. So let me go ahead and say this. So I thought the Storm, we're going to talk about the Storm again, okay? Mm-hmm. So I was like, they got a boring roster. I picked them, I think, 4th, right? Mm-hmm. To finish 4th in the standings. And then, you made me take it back. You made me take my, my slander for the Storm back. But now I'm losers of 4 in a row. I remember saying when they were like 5-3, 7-5, 10-7, whatever their record was, I was like, that's just not good enough. And they have continued to play inconsistent basketball. And that is baffling to me with the roster. Again, it's not a super flashy roster, solid veterans, right? But they're 16 and 15 and losers of 4 in a row, 3-7 in their last 10. Let me tell you who is going to get into the playoffs. My Los Angeles Sparks.
Controversial.
Okay, we may think it's a controversial take. 8-2 in the last 10. They've won 3 in a row. They're playing good basketball. They're healthy. Kelsey Plum is a bucket. I wonder if Las Vegas looks at Jewel Lloyd sometime and is like, yeah. But anyway.
They definitely do. And I'll say this about LA. I think that they can play great on any given night, but they're just not, like, the players individually are not as consistent as we would like. Like, Rickea Jackson is one of my favorite players in the league, but Rickea will score 4 points on Monday and 27 points on Wednesday, right? So you just never know what you're going to get out of her. And I think, with their like core not having too much experience. They have the experience with Kelsey Plum and De'Erica Hamby from Vegas, but the rest of their group is pretty young, and they have to find some consistency in order to fight through this last stretch of the season and then be able to be successful in the playoffs. So I don't know. I just don't really see it for the Sparks, but I think that they're really close and they're getting there.
Yeah, and the reason I think they're going to get there is because with the injury to Kayla Thornton, I think the Valkyrie are going to end up just sliding out of that playoff spot. It was fun while it lasted, Valkyrie. Maybe y'all will prove me wrong, but I just don't think they're going to get in the playoffs. And then we know this. It's about matchups.
Right.
It's about matchups. So anything can happen when we get into the playoffs. All right, let's do some transaction talk.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of these transactions that have happened. Okay. So you mentioned the Washington Mystics.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they've just done a wash sale.
Correct.
So watching the games last night, I found out that Brittany Sykes actually asked for a trade.
Wow.
Okay. Brittany Sykes asked for a trade. She wanted to play on a contender. So she asked for it. Washington and Seattle got it done within a couple of days. So, but then they also, we had already talked about Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
We had talked about her in another episode. They end up getting rid of her. So they're on a slide as well. They've lost 4 in a row. They played strong in the beginning. I guess the writing was on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Brittany Sykes asked to get out of there. Sonia Citron, Kiki Irifin, they're playing well. So I think it is looking like a rebuild for the Mystics. I found out something else last night that I did not know. Sonia Citron is African.
Okay.
Yeah, she's Cape Verdean.
Okay, I can kind of connect the dots with her name.
Yeah, she's Cape Verdean. There is somebody else who is Cape Verdean. She was a coach. Maybe his name will come back to me a little bit later. So just some interesting facts there. So Sykes asked to be out of there. She's out of there. So she's now in Seattle. Talk about Dejanay Carrington going to the Lynx. And how does that booster them?
Was not on my bingo card. First of all, was not on my bingo card. But for her, I think first you can see the shift in her, like mentally, like her entire aura has shifted into a more positive aura. She looks like she's even more focused. It seems like I consider her to be like a really strong professional. She comes from a line of basketball coaches and a sports family. I think her brother was drafted to the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. So she comes from, like a very strong sports and professional background. And I think that she just wasn't getting the opportunity to showcase her talent and professionalism in Dallas and being on obviously the top team in the league. Now she's getting an opportunity to do that. And I've always said that I thought that she played better right around extreme talent. She was the MIP in Connecticut because she was surrounded by, DeWanna Bonner and Alyssa Thomas and all these amazing players. So I think in Dallas, maybe she was being asked to do a little bit too much, and that's just not her strength. So I think in Minnesota, she's able to come in and just kind of fill in the gaps with whatever they need. If they need energy, she provides it. If they need scoring, she can provide it. They need defense. They don't need it, but it's always a plus. They're the best defensive team in the league, but it's always a plus, right? And she just gives them even more of an advantage. So I think whatever Minnesota needs from her, she's able to provide it. And she looks happy.
I like it.
Yes,
I really, really like it. So we just mentioned matchups, right? We mentioned matchups. So let's look in our crystal ball. It's hard to see somebody beating Minnesota and New York. So predicting a matchup of Minnesota and New York. New York picked up Emma Mieseman. Which player do you think will have the most impact on their team, Carrington or Mieseman?
I think Carrington. I just if she can stay healthy, I just think that she's able to provide so much. And if I'm not mistaken, did Emma Mieseman take a break from the league? She's taking a bit of a break.
Yeah, so Emma Mieseman hadn't played in the league the last 2 years. She had played in Europe and was an MVP in Europe.
So yeah,
right?
she's taking. I recall now she's taking a bit of a break. So I think just with Carrington, being fresh back into the lineup, she was injured as well, so she had a little rib injury. She's back. She's energetic. She just I think she's her character in basketball is impact. That's her word. So if anybody's gonna be
like that.
anybody's gonna be the most impactful on the floor, I think it's her. And when she isn't, it's so surprising to everyone. Right? If she doesn't make an impact, she could have 0 points. She will impact the game. So if she's not, it's extremely surprising. I don't see anybody outworking Carrington.
Okay. So just thinking of matchups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who would she match up against in a potential Minnesota Liberty finals? Who is she guarding? Is she guarding Ionescu?
Probably so. Ionescu, point guard, deep shooter. I'd say so.
Okay.
But they also they've added the next level with Brittany Sykes. Brittany Sykes is an excellent defender. So, you can toe between the two of them. But I think, to start, I think she'd definitely be a matchup with Ionescu.
Okay. And then this happened a while ago, but again, it's been a little bit over a month since we've recorded. DeWanna Bonner has found her way home. She's literally found her way home.
Yeah.
She's back in Phoenix, and she's in Phoenix with her partner. So what's the potential impact there? Phoenix is sitting in that 4 spot, 19-11. Winners of 3 in a row. So are they finding their footing, and what's her potential impact there?
Yeah, I definitely think they've been consistent throughout the season, but winners of 3 in a row because Alyssa Thomas, right, has had like 3 triple doubles.
3 triple doubles in a row.
Right, in a row. But when it comes to DeWanna Bonner, I guess I'll say this for me. I was expecting for her to go there and have this great jump and shift into the player that we know she could be. Because I just think that she just plays so well with her partner, Alyssa Thomas. I don't know. I think sometimes I joke they only pass the ball to each other. But yeah,
is it a joke?
They only pass the ball to each other. But I don't think she still hasn't been the DeWanna Bonner that she's been in the past. The first matchup when she went back to Indiana, and that's something that we can refer back right to Tea Time. So right, viewers, you weren't aware because I didn't inform you. She did return back to Indiana about maybe a week or so ago, and fans booed her. Right, but this is sports.
Right.
So there was an uproar right on social media about why they would boo her. Why wouldn't they boo her?
She's supposed to be booed going back to Indiana.
She left without communicating. Apparently, as Sophie Cunningham says, she didn't communicate with any of her teammates. Right, no message, no hey, this is not for me. Good luck to you all. Right, so she left without communicating with fans or teammates. Middle of the season, and when she was there, she wasn't productive. Right, so of course they booed her. So she returned to Indiana, didn't really have a good game. Indiana won by a landslide. Just the other night, they played. Phoenix got the win, and DeWanna Bonner had a solid game, and she was jawing. I think she called Lexi Hall quote bum, if I'm not mistaken. So I think she's starting to feel herself a little bit. I just think she could do better.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna speak very candidly here. She should have been booed.
Absolutely.
Of course we don't know the whole story, so we're speaking from a fan's perspective.
Exactly.
And the fans have the right to do that. She was not productive in Indiana. And let's just talk about Indiana. That I have to give Indiana and their coach Stephanie White their props. Okay, because they bring in DeWanna Bonner. Hopefully that's the piece that gets them over the top. It does not work out. Caitlin Clark has dealt with injuries all season long. And they have all they're doing is sitting in that 5 spot.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. So we have to give them their props. So whatever, the truth will come out at some point, but whatever beef is there, professional sports is still a what have you done for me lately league.
Yeah.
Right. So if it's some of that going on there, then so be it. And then, she's passing the ball in Phoenix to her spouse, because I could see her teammates in the corner like, girl, I was open. Why didn't you pass me the ball?
Every time.
Because I have to go home tonight. That's why I didn't pass you the ball.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anyway. All right, Tay. We didn't really talk about this before we started recording. Have there been any good and bad surprises lately in the W?
I would say, just like we talked about, the bad surprises like Seattle, they've gone on they've gone downhill a little. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if they're tired. They just gave it their all in the beginning of the season, and they're getting a little bit fatigued. I don't know what's going on there. I'd say that's been a bad surprise. Other than that, no, nothing.
Yeah. All right, let me do my little commercial right here. I don't even know if I have my book. Listen, we're going to get back to the conversation in just a second, but here at the Coaches Co-op, we're all about building championship level systems on and off the court. You know what I want to be for you? I want to be your mentor. But you don't have to contact me personally for me to be your mentor. Hold one second. All my books fell off the bookshelf. If you want me to be your mentor, you can buy this book, The Path for Coaches, Volume 1, Mentoring. You want to know where you can purchase this book? Well, you can get in touch with me. Send me a DM on Instagram, coaches _ nope, that's not right. I don't even know my IG. It's Podcast with Prejean.
Yeah.
Right. So look me up, Podcast with Prejean. I would be more than happy to send you a copy of this book. Or if you don't want to buy a copy of the book from me, you can go right here. You can go to Amazon.com and purchase this book, The Path for Coaches. Maybe you don't like me. Maybe it's like, you know what? I don't want to be mentored by a light-skinned bald-head man. That's fine. Look right here on the back. You see all of these authors? Male and female, all races, colors, and creeds. You can find a mentor for you in The Path for Coaches, Mentoring, Volume 1. WNBA Tay, whose birthday is today, does own a copy of this book.
I sure
Reach
do.
out to yours truly if you want a copy, or you can go to Amazon.com and purchase your own copy. The Path for Coaches, Volume 1, focuses on mentoring. Hey, let me be your mentor. I'd love to help you out with anything that you need. All right, here we go. Let's get back to it. You are in the Coaches Co-op with Coach P and WNBA Tay, our resident WNBA specialist. All right, let's get into Tay's tops. Now, actually, let's do this. Let me put this on the screen because I didn't do it whenever we talked about the standings. Let's see how we're doing.
Oh, not very good.
With our predictions. I think we're doing, I actually think we're doing okay. I think we're doing okay. So there we are right there. There's the actual standings versus our predictions. So you had the Fever in your top 3. So they're currently at 5. Not bad. You had the Aces there. Listen, when it's all said and done, we can't count the Aces out, but we're going to get to that segment in just a second. The Atlanta Dream and the Mercury just kind of sitting there, a surprise for both of us because we had Atlanta a little bit further back down. Atlanta might be a real contender as well. We'll talk about that. All right, let's see where I had my Sparks. Y'all see where I had my Sparks? Had them in that 6th spot, y'all. Here they come. Here they come. They're coming. All right, so let's see what the next slide is. I have no idea. It might be a surprise for us. Oh, that's old. Rookie watch. All right, listen. You see what I put there?
Yes. Yes. Without question. Paige Becker is the best player on her team. full of talent. She is the best player at the top of the box score every night. They don't win. They're not even remotely competitive has she not been on the roster.
Listen, I'm just gonna put an old African American proverb on Paige Beckers, okay? That girl been here before. She's been here before.
That's what they say.
She has definitely been here before. All right, so Paige Beckers is a lock for Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
Then we haven't talked about Defensive Player of the Week. We're going to work that into our next episode. Defensive Player of the Year. We'll work that one into our next episode.
Okay.
Most Improved. There's only been one player that we have talked about the entire time when we talk about Most Improved, and that has been Alicia Gray.
Right.
Is she a lock for Most Improved?
I don't know if she's a lock. I think she is definitely at the top of the list. Not sure just yet if she is a shoo-in, but she, of course, has still been pretty solid. Wouldn't say she's been really standing out recently, but she's close.
Let's give Kelsey Mitchell an award.
Let's do it.
What award is she? Is she a contender for Most Improved?
I think she's always been what she's doing now. She's always done, and I just think she may be overlooked. I don't know if she's a contender for Most Improved. I just think she's one of those players who you know she's amazing. You know she's an all-star, but they won't put her at the top of an award list.
So if we gave Kelsey Mitchell an award, what award would we give Kelsey Mitchell?
You know, I don't know if we have a scoring title in the WNBA, but I mean, I feel like if there is a scoring title, she should be somewhere close to the top of the list this season.
Okay, let's look it up. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, so for the season, she's at 19 point something. Mm-hmm. I know for sure. Okay, here we go. Points per game. She's top 5.
Okay.
So at the top of the list, Nafisa Collier, 23.5 points per game.
Are you able to see totals?
Total points? Let's see. All right. So no, that's giving me, for the sake of me digging through the internet and not finding something I want to find as fast as I do.
Okay. We'll just stick with that.
Oh. So, okay. Player efficiency rating.
What's going on?
Okay. So Nafisa Collier first at 23.5 a game. Asia Wilson in second. She's at 21.8 points per game. Kelsey Plum, 20.4. She's a bucket. She is a bucket. Sabrina Ionescu, who I am so very pleased with how her game has taken off in lieu of the injuries. First to Jonquil Jones, who is back, and then now to Stewie, who is out. She's at 19.9. Kelsey Mitchell is at 19.7. Okay. Her efficiency rating is 14.5. That's not great. Whereas we're looking at Nafisa at 27.7. Asia Wilson at 26.5.
So she won't be getting the most efficient award.
She will not get the most efficient award. But let's give, you know what? Let's give her the Rubber Ducky Award.
Okay.
Because she has kept her team afloat.
Absolutely.
In the midst of all of the turmoil, in the midst of DeWanna Bonner leaving, in the midst of I am so
For the
hard.
last few years,
Yes.
kept the Fever afloat.
Well, I don't know if we can say she's kept them afloat the last few years because they had 2 number 1 picks recently.
They did, but without Kelsey, it doesn't matter. Even though they had some 13-win seasons, those 13 don't even take place without Kelsey Mitchell.
Okay, so Kelsey Mitchell, we recognize you for
Yes.
keeping your team afloat, so we're going to give you the Rubber Ducky Award. All right, let's talk about MVP.
All right.
Let's talk about MVP. Let's get this back up on the screen. I'm going to show you what I did as we get ready to talk about the MVP.
Let's see.
It doesn't matter.
I will say this. I think all 4 of them, and especially Stewart, Agwumike in Boston, off the list, and we can slide Alyssa Thomas onto. I think that she's also a player like Kelsey Mitchell, who they just give an applause, a pat on the back, an all-star award, but they don't consider her, and she is playing MVP basketball. Period.
I agree.
Nobody is Lisa Collier.
We'll add her. So Brandon Stewart, she's injured now, of course. Asia Wilson, kind of starting to turn it on a little, a little bit more. Aaliyah Boston, Nneka Agwumike. It was nice. Alyssa Thomas, though. We moving? So we had number 2 on our MVP list was Alicia Gray. Are we moving Alyssa Thomas past Alicia Gray?
For sure.
Okay.
She's been excellent. Her numbers are crazy.
Yeah, she is so good.
And she's impacting winning. They're winning. Phoenix is winning.
Yeah, they're winning. Okay. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about contenders and pretenders.
All right.
Contenders and pretenders. Who are the top threats to Minnesota and New York? Who are the top threats? So right here sitting in the number 3 spot are the Atlanta Dream. Are the Atlanta Dream a real contender or are they a pretender?
The Atlanta Dream are a contender. I just think anytime you have Brittany Griner on your team, you're a contender. Period. There's not much you can do with Brittany Griner if she comes to play. If she comes to play and she's aggressive, there's not much you can do to stop her. And even when you do, and you're sending doubles and triples, then you have your Alicia Grays, your Brianna Joneses, your Ryan Howards. So I think Atlanta is a contender.
I agree. Atlanta is a contender. Their inside-out game is very good. They can shoot the 3 ball, and they get up and down that floor. Man, they can beat you. They are physical on the interior. Brianna Jones, Brittany Griner, and then you have to contend with Ryan Howard. Alicia Gray gets hot. You're in trouble. That's a good team. Let me tell you who is, I believe, my opinion, who has been a very, very underrated part of that team, and she is a perfect fit for them. That's Jordan Canada. Because all she needs to do is keep the engine running.
And she does a great job.
She does a great job of that. Okay, sitting in the 4th spot, Phoenix Mercury, contender or pretender?
Contender. Anytime you have Alyssa Thomas on the floor, you're a contender. She's got her boo alongside her. They're like Kobe and Shaq. Wait, that was too far. But contender. Anytime you have Alyssa Thomas on the floor, Kalia Copper, who is a champion.
Right. And salty.
Yes. You're a contender. And they're surrounded by shooters as well as a pretty good coaching staff as well. So contender.
All right. The injury riddled Indiana Fever, contender or pretender?
Right now, that with that roster, it's given pretender.
Okay. The resurgent Las Vegas Aces, contender or pretender?
Pretender. Love Asia Wilson. When Asia Wilson is on the floor, it's very difficult. But we've seen some stints this year where Asia Wilson has scored 30,000 points in a game, and the rest of the box score was 3, 4 points. So if those guards, it's the guard play in Vegas. If the guards don't show up to play, It doesn't matter what the inside players are doing. They can't compete. They can't compete with Minnesota, who is just stocked. New York is just stocked. If their guards don't show up to play, which they haven't consistently, I call them pretenders. I do.
They got beat by 50 points.
It was outrageous. It was outrageous. At what point does your competitive spirit kick in?
I'm so baffled because they've got the same record as the Fever, which is I would say that's a disappointment. That is a disappointment with all of the injuries that the Fever have had. Yeah, the how do you anyway? Pretender.
It's back. Pretender. Yes.
Pretender. All right. Last 2 playoff spots. Actually, we're gonna go 3 because we're gonna talk about my Sparks as well. Okay. So sitting in the 7th spot, we got the Seattle Storm. Contender or pretender?
Contender. They're contenders. Enough said. They're contenders.
No. You got to tell me why they're contenders.
They have, first of all, I want to say they beat every team in the league this year. Okay. They've got a game.
They're 16 and 15.
Doesn't matter. They've shown that they can compete and beat every team in the league. When they played Minnesota, they beat Minnesota by double digits, right? And that was a healthy Minnesota team. They're just competitive. Like what I said about Vegas, where's your competitive spirit? You don't ever have to ask that question to any player on the Storm team. And then with the addition of Brittany Sykes, who was one of the most competitive players, puts her body on the line, amazing defender. I think she averages like the most free throws in the league, where she was at one point this season, because she's so aggressive. I just think they got even better. So they have to work out some of the pieces with adding her, and seeing how she fits in. And then their number 2 draft pick, Malonga, has been playing amazing. Went toe to toe with Asia Wilson just last night. So they are contenders.
So, gosh, Malonga was excellent last night.
She's been excellent. When Noelle Quinn decides to use her and put her on the floor, she comes in and she immediately makes an impact.
19 years old, and it wasn't. She's great in the pick and roll game because of the verticality, right? So she's so long and can jump. So they're throwing the hook pass. The guards are doing a good job of throwing the hook pass where only she can catch it. But she made a move last night. I was like, ooh, she made Becky Hammond call a timeout. All right, so
that's easy to do.
Golden State Valkyries, contender or pretender? Right now, they're sitting in the 8th spot.
Like you said, with the subtraction of Kayla Thornton, I'd say they're pretenders right now. Unfortunately, because I'd love for them to get in there and compete as an expansion team.
And then in the 9th spot, who I believe is going to get into that 8th spot. And depending on what happens with Indiana and Vegas, their consistency could maybe even be 7 or 6. The Los Angeles Sparks, contender or pretender?
They're pretenders. They are. They're pretenders with so much talent on their rosters. They're still pretenders. I think they need another year to be strong contenders. Just one more.
Okay.
With that being this one, I think next year they'll be strong contenders.
Yeah, I like Ray Burrell. I love her on that team.
A lot of time this year.
Yeah, I think they need a little more defense on the perimeter. I think they get a little more defense on the perimeter, and they'll be better. Okay, so of these 3 contenders, Atlanta, Phoenix, and Seattle, which one is the top threat to Minnesota or New York?
I don't know if you agree. After I watch a lot of Seattle is the top threat. I think none of these teams, neither of those 2 teams, want to see Seattle. I think that there's not many. You know how when you're a talented team, not many teams put fear in your heart. You're not really nervous about going to play them. I think when they're practicing and they're preparing to play Seattle, they're locked in. They're reading the scout. They're really watching film. I just think Seattle poses a different type of threat to any team.
All right, you heard it. Tay's top threat outside of Minnesota and New York are the 16 and 15 Seattle Storm.
You didn't have to say that part.
Okay. Are the Seattle Storm, are the Skylar Diggins, Brittany Sykes, Nneka Agwumike led Seattle Storm.
Gabby Williams.
Don't let me forget about Gabby Williams.
There's so much talent on the team.
So I'm watching the game last night, and I'm like, man, if I'm preparing a scout, to play against Seattle, and I want to try to limit some things offensively, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make Gabby Williams make shots all night.
And that's not
she's done a good job making shots, but yeah.
She's a professional. That's when we talk about like Dejanay Carrington, a true professional. She's one of those. Yeah. She
is definitely a professional. All right. Somebody asked me yesterday. They were like, "Man, do you and Coach Harris have a podcast about gambling?"
Oh, no.
I was like, "No, we do not have a podcast about gambling. We do have a podcast about the WNBA." Okay. And if you do engage in gambling, we do have a segment for you.
Which I do not.
this podcast is for the people.
Yes.
Okay. And we do know people who sometimes like to engage in a parlay or two.
Absolutely.
So before we get out of here, we are going to give you Tay's parlays. Okay, there are 2 games on the schedule tonight. This is for Saturday, August 9th, 2025. 2 games on the schedule tonight. Chicago at Indiana. For the life of me, why do y'all keep putting them on television?
Because they thought we'd be able to see Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. And unfortunately, that has not been the thing since the opening night of the season.
WNBA, you need to renegotiate that contract to put some flex scheduling in there, right? Because when you have, 2 of your bigger stars, that have a little rivalry injured, we don't want to watch that.
We don't.
We don't want to watch that.
We won't be watching it either.
Oh my goodness. All right. So we talked about Kelsey Mitchell earlier today. Mm-hmm. So for the Chicago and Indiana game tonight, let's go Kelsey Mitchell. 19.5 points. She averages 19.3 on the season. Are we going over or under?
She has to go over if they want to win. Over. She has to.
Okay. That's the only person we're gonna do for that game because geez Louise. Nobody wants to watch that WNBA. All right. The second game on the slate tonight are the LA Sparks at the Golden State Valkyries.
That'll be fun.
If LA wins this game tonight, they jump Golden State and they are in the top 8 for a playoff spot. So, y'all know, I think Kelsey Plum is a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go with Kelsey Plum tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey Plum, 19.5 points. Over or under?
Over.
Okay, so let's just straight up and down. Who do you think wins tonight's game between LA and Golden State?
I think I have no pick because you never know when it comes to LA. LA should win the game. Let me say that. The Los Angeles Sparks should win the game. But as I previously stated, you never know what you're going to get. You never know. I don't know what I'm going to get from Rickea Jackson. Sometimes you don't even know what you're going to get from Kelsey Plum. She may be building a brick house on some nights.
Oh, because she is going to let it fly.
Absolutely. So just depending on what you get, if they, perform at the level they're capable of, the Sparks should win the competition.
I'm looking at the comments on Instagram. So first of all, official William IG, man, thank you for being here. And M Jones 9871, thank you for being here. Puncho RWO, thank you for joining us. Yvette Bates 10, thank you for joining us today. I really, really appreciate y'all tapping in. Again, this podcast is for the people. Whether you are a WNBA connoisseur, whether you're a casual viewer, this show is for you. So thank you for joining us today in the Coaches Co-op. I'm Coach P. I've been here with WNBA Tay. Thank you for sharing your journey. Well, you didn't share your journey. You shared all your knowledge and your WNBA wisdom. If you are walking away with new insight about the WNBA, if we have piqued your interest just a little bit, man, make sure you tune in to the WNBA. Watch women's sports, okay? Like, share, help us grow the Coaches Co-op community, because don't ever, ever forget, coaches do what most people can't. For WNBA Tay, I'm Coach P. We are out of here. Until next time, I need y'all to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And we're out of here. And my video won't play. I clicked on it 15 times. My outro video won't play.
You always have technical difficulties.
Always having technical. So let me see if I can get it on my main screen.
It's a part of his personality.
Yeah. Okay. One more time. I'm Coach P for WNBA Tay. Until next time, this has been the Coaches Co-op and WNBA Tay. It still don't work. All right. I'm just going to end the stream. We're just going to end. Bam.
Thank you.
Oh, look.